let's talk about mastering objection management. We have this lumped in with kind of step 5, but it could really occur anywhere within your conversation. Sometimes, step 1 through 5, if they're going along with it, is perfect, but at the end of the day, they're going to hit you with some pushback, and we got to be prepared to deal with it and keep our conversation going and make sure we're staying on track. So a couple things we want to start with here is you might be in step 1 and give them a great pitch, and you've introduced yourself, you've asked the perfect question to go on to the next phase, but they cut you off and they hit you with some sort of objection. Maybe they hit you with, well, we're good right now. We're not taking on new partners. Here's the key thing you got to remember. We call this objection management for a reason. It's because we're not pushing back and we're not rebuttaling. We're going to address what they've said there. We're going to understand it, and we're going to move right around it and stay on task with qualifying the buyer, right? So they hit us with that right after our introduction. We got to say something like, hey, I totally understand. Most of my current clients are set up, with guys they like, they've used for a long time. If you don't mind me asking one last question, how many truckloads a week are you having to go to those guys and find capacity for, right? I'm not rebuttaling. I'm not saying, what if I can do it better? What if I can do it cheaper? Give me a shot. I'm not trying to close. I'm addressing it. Told them I totally understand. Most of my current clients work the same way, and sidestepping that and getting right back to qualifying that buyer. So first thing I want you to understand in objection management is we're not rebuttaling. We're not pushing back, right? If you hit force with force, you're just going to move yourself further apart from that decision maker there. We're going to address it and sidestep it and get our qualifying data, right? What we want to find on that phone call is who has truckloads out there. Maybe they're getting them covered. Maybe they have a couple brokers. Maybe they have some local carriers. But who has truckloads that they have to work through every day and get covered, and how many are there? Okay, so, we're not hitting these heads on. Stay on task with steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then get to where you can ask for the business, and then we'll address some of their objections a little more directly. But still, if you go to Google, you'll see a document in there called Mastering Objection Management. We've got 3 core approaches. You really only need 3 approaches to address every push-off you have. And it doesn't matter what you're selling. That's life, right? So all the push-offs are about the same that we get, that people get in industries. If you can master 3 approaches and understand how to use them and when to use them, you'll be able to sidestep and move forward relatively easily and continue to increase your percentage chance of getting someone to commit to giving you an opportunity to work with them. So, review those. Approach 1 is, it sounds like you have a reason for saying that. We're not going to go into detail on this call, but it's a great one you can use almost for anything to help keep prolonging the conversation and help get that buyer to open up. Approach 2 is the classic feel, felt, found. There's a real good example in the document there of how to deploy that. And then approach 3 is what we call agreeing with them. And you heard me use it there. Hey, that's how all my customers work, or that's how all my clients work. And then you go into some examples of how you're working with them and helping them. So, again, we're keeping it short, but mastering objection management, we're not pushing back with force. We're not trying to close until we get to step 5. And we got to understand when to deploy these 3 approaches.